I don't like the way Canadian women treat Canadian men. But
Oh, spicy.
I do like the way Colombian women treat Colombian men. Now,
Oh,
I'm not saying that it's perfect, right? Like obviously there's some things that Colombian women do which I don't like, but overall, I think the pros outweigh the cons in terms of relationships. Like if you're a guy and you want to find like a good wife, I think Colombian women make really good wives. But there's a caveat here: you can't take them out of Colombia. As soon as you take a Colombian woman out of Colombia and put them in Canada, it's they're going to adapt to the Canadian cultures, and it's game over. So it only works if you stay in Colombia, so they continue being Colombian, right? Now, obviously, it's not all fucking dope. Like there's things because it's a different culture, but I would say the pros do outweigh the cons, and it doesn't work the other way around. Like if you think if you're a Canadian woman and you're wanting to meet a Colombian man, no, that's definitely not going to work because Colombian men will not put up with just the way Canadian women are. It is what it is. Men like to feel like they are the man in a relationship. Colombian women know how to make a man feel like a man, and Canadian women, generally speaking, have lost sight of that, and it's not. It's it's making it difficult. I would say it's making
so
it difficult for men in Canada.
can we tease that out a little bit more? Like, what would you say the big difference? Like, I know you just said that Colombian women like know how to make a man or treat a man like a man or feel like a man, right? Or be the man kind of thing. And the woman, yeah, like so that to me sounds like a bit of a gender role, which is
Yeah,
getting demonized at the moment. But
yeah,
I think unfairly in all seriousness. But I also think that, there's space for people to try whatever they would like to try in those regards. But yeah,
yeah.
could we tease that out a little bit more? Like you said, you don't like how the way that Canadian women treat Canadian men, but you do like how Colombian women treat men. So
Yeah.
what, like, is it down to that gender role?
It does come down to gender roles, straight up. And I know how that's going to sound to some people listening, but there are there are huge benefits to having gender roles. You're part of a team. There's a team, and each player in the team has their roles in order for this unit, this family, to function optimally. And it does work. Like gender roles did work in the past, maybe not optimally, but if we adapt some of those gender roles and apply them, in sort of like a new age sort of like family unit, I think it could work a lot better than it currently is. Um, I mean, I don't want to say anything specifically because can just like take it out of context, but I do want to provide an example. It's kind of funny. So, and I'm not referring to just this one thing, right? It's a whole slew of things, but I'll just dissect this as one little thing. When I was growing up, um, I would listen to my dad's friends talk, right? And sometimes they'd be making plans like amongst themselves. And the joke would always be, oh, I got to ask the boss first, though. You know what I mean? Oh, you're going to ask the boss first. Or they'd always refer to their wife as the boss, and they would all laugh about it. But the reality is, it wasn't actually a joke. Like they would have to ask permission. And I'm not saying that you don't need to talk to your wife about certain decisions you want to make, but just the men, they knew their role so quickly and they joked about it, and they were all like in this like headspace together that they all knew like, yeah, you gotta talk to the boss first, kind of thing. It's just like one little thing, but that I always find kind of funny, but it's true. Men don't have as much say in a relationship as like they did before. I would say generally women are making all of the decisions in the house, all of them. And I don't think that that's healthy. I don't think that's good for the man. It's very important that the man feels he has not all the control, but that he has some control, has a role in making decisions, has a role in, you know, having the house in a certain order. That I think is very important.
Yeah, no, I agree. But okay, so that's fascinating. And what I was just thinking though is I don't know if that's as much to do with gender role as it is as a reflection of the quality or the health of their relationships, right? Like, so to me, when somebody says, oh, I've got to ask the boss first, I don't know if it's a literal thing, like they're actually like, you know, wife, but more of like it's a reflection of the quality of their relationship, right? Like they obviously don't have a, a deep intuitive understanding or mutual respect for each other or some sort of thing in their relationship that allows the person to be somewhat autonomous as well as participating in a relationship, if that kind of makes sense, right? Like, you know, me and my partner, I would never say I've got to ask the boss. One, because like I know that if this is something that I'm going to enjoy and that I've worked hard to do or I'd really like to do, then why would she object to me going and doing that? Right? Because in our relationship, you know, things that add value to my life end up adding back into our relationship because, you know, I'm more fulfilled and I'm a happier person because I'm living my best life, so to speak, and which then makes our relationship better because of that. Whereas when I hear people say that, because I've heard that same thing in Australia many times, ask the boss. It's more like, to me, it highlights the lack of quality relationship that those two people must have. Because, you know, like for me personally, if my partner wanted to go and do things that she really wanted to do and loved and enjoyed, why would I want to stop her? Why would I want to inhibit her ability to enjoy her life? Does that kind of make sense? I don't know. I feel like I butchered that, but
No, you're absolutely right though.
yeah,
It's like because Canadian women got sort of used to controlling all of these things. So if they're not a part of a decision being made, they feel threatened. They feel like they're losing their power. So it's a controlling mechanism which occurs.
Yeah. See, and I've never really understood this in terms of being in a relationship and controlling it. Like the last thing I want to do is to control somebody else. Like I prefer to just be busy doing me and living my life. You know, like that. I can't ever wrap my head around like wanting to spend time and energy or my computation wanting to control somebody else. Like to me, that just says that like you two are mismatched. Like if you're always trying to control someone, like it's a fundamental mismatch, and you should probably, you know, like ideally find somebody that you don't have to control because their default state matches with yours. If that, you know what I mean? Like, and
yeah.
Like, yeah, it baffles me. But yeah, like that was actually a really interesting point. So back to that, and when we say gender roles, like we don't mean like, you know, the woman is in the house cleaning and cooking and doing the rest of it. And we don't mean that the man's out, you know, doing the physical labor or whatever. Like, yeah, that can be a gender role for sure. But it's a very dynamic process. And it's understanding that a relationship is the unity of two individuals. And like you said, it's about becoming a team. And so it's like and the way I see that, and I think the more general sense to think about it in is if I have strengths and you have weaknesses and my strengths complement your weaknesses and you have strengths and I have weaknesses and your strengths complement my weaknesses, we have become greater than the sum of our parts. Right. And so if my strengths are, you know, cooking and cleaning, well, then I'm happy to do those things because they're my strengths. They're easy for me to do. And so therefore I can do that easily. And if your strengths your strengths are not cooking and cleaning, they're, you know, working a career or whatever else, well, then you do that because it's easy for you to do that. And then we can come together and share and that we make each other's lives easier and better because we're balancing each other out, so to speak.